You're listening to the Pauly Price Podcast. Nonstop. Here's your host, the jack of all trades, Pauly Price.
Hey, what's going on? Thank you for joining me today, Wednesday, April 15th. The world is still on a standstill with this COVID-19 pandemic. That's why I got this show today for you, so you can get away from this, you can relax. We're going to find out what my movie of the day was, as well as the song of the day. So hopefully maybe the movie of the day would inspire you to go watch the movie if you haven't already seen it. Or maybe you've seen it. Go watch it again. Alright, but before we get into the song and the movie of the day, we're going to start the show like I always do, with the news.
This is your COVID-19 update. The U.S. now has over 600,000 coronavirus cases. A death toll above 26,000. U.S. has been seeing a flattened line in the curve over the last week. The total amount of cases is over 2 million, with a total death toll of 127,000 and 500,000 total recovered. In other news, the FDA is walking back its decision to loosen restrictions on coronavirus antibody tests after the market was flooded with faulty, low-quality versions. Antibody tests can tell if a person has been infected with coronavirus, recovered and is now ostensibly immune. Unfortunately, after the FDA loosened restrictions on the tests, scientists realized new tests on the market were not all reliable. Seeing as how an inaccurate result could endanger people with a false sense of immunity, the FDA has now tightened enforcement again. It has been a year since a massive fire at the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris toppled the iconic building's spire and endangered its structural integrity. The cultural tragedy inspired a worldwide influx of donations to rebuild and reinforce the 850-year-old building, but those efforts are now on hold due to the pandemic. In sports, Hank Steinbrenner, the oldest son of George Steinbrenner and one of the 4 siblings who own the controlling shares of the New York Yankees, died Tuesday at age 63. The team said he died at home in Clearwater, Florida, due to a long-standing health issue. Kyle Larson was fired Tuesday by Chip Ganassi Racing, completing a stunning downfall for the budding NASCAR star who uttered a racial slur during a live-streamed virtual race and then watched as nearly every one of his sponsors dropped him. In football, the NFL will test out its virtual draft procedure with a mock draft. All 32 teams will participate in a mock draft next week to test the systems which will be used during the 2020 NFL Draft, which will be fully virtual. NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport reported Monday. In addition, there will be a separate and secure line created for draft trades, Rappaport added. Teams can call in and speak on that line to complete trades with multiple voices confirming deals. The trade line will also be simulated in next week's mock. Conducting next week's simulated mock draft, the NFL hopes to work out any kinks or concerns front offices have ahead of the league's virtual draft, which runs April 23rd to 25th. This was your news update.
Alright, and we're back. Yeah, this COVID-19 pandemic is definitely something I've never experienced. This is pretty crazy. I mean, everything is shut down. You know, there's only essential workers working out there right now. Everybody has to basically stay home, which is forcing everybody to go on unemployment, which is forcing it to be impossible to get anything done because, let's face it, sometimes the system does not work. But I'm sure there's other people out there that are a little more optimistic than me, but I try to stay positive during these times. That's why I started this podcast, so we can get away from all the bullshit that goes on in the world, and we can focus on the good things that we have, things that we enjoy, like movies and songs. But, you know, we got to face this stuff head on, and especially going on in sports. There are no sports. It is good to hear that the NFL is continuing their draft, so they're starting that mock draft so they can test out the systems, make sure everything is on the up and up before they go ahead and start the real process, which the process for the NFL draft is extremely complicated. So hopefully things go well for them and that process goes well for all the players who are going to be invited to join the NFL next year and be able to show their skills. So I'm hoping everything goes well and that we get back to sports and baseball gets back. It's sad because, you know, not having sports, something I enjoy, it sucks. It really does. It takes away the things that we enjoy. So it's just day by day. It's fun to see everybody doing their thing and just trying to get by it. But yeah, I definitely miss sports. You know, that's something that you know is a part of you when you don't have it. And it just really shows the saying, you don't know what you got till it's gone, to be more true than ever. All right, now it is time.
Crushing death and grief.
You made a mistake.
Movie of the day I have chosen takes us back to 1995, and it falls in the comedy category. It was directed by Peter Siegel and had great casting, which was Chris Farley, David Spade, and this movie is Tommy Boy.
Let's get out of here.
Too late. Hey, guess who's here? What are we serving tonight? Chicken or chicken?
What a nice surprise. They said we were going to be short-handed this leg. You two take coach. Oh, and could you handle the announcements?
Okie dokie. No problemo.
They're gonna know we're bogus.
Relax. You get on the horn, I'll throw some peanuts at him. We'll be in Chicago before you know it.
Okay, folks, the guy in front of you is Tommy. He'll be taking you through my little spiel here. Tommy is a Scorpio, he likes biking, and he's never been laid. Exits! Okay, there's one back here, and there's probably one over by the wing somewhere, usually. And what about seat belts? To fasten. Take the little end and stick it in the big end, and you know what? If you guys don't know how to use a seat belt, just ring your call button, and Tommy will come back there and hit you on the head with a tack hammer because you're a retard. Okay, and life preservers. These we may need. Although, what are the odds of us actually hitting a lake? My money says, if anything, it's gonna be a mountain. To inflate, put it around your neck and yank down on the tab.
Oh, damn it! Son of a... Breathe! I can't breathe! Don't get...
He's a big dumb animal, isn't he, folks?
I'm not, but I could if you help me.
Forget it. I got enough to do without having to change your diapers.
Richard, is this your coat?
Don't do it.
Fat guy in a little coat. Fat guy in a little coat.
Don't.
Fat guy in a little coat. Fat guy in a little coat.
Take it off, dickhead. I'm serious.
Richard, what's happening? Oh. Helen, we're both in sales. Let me tell you why I suck as a salesman. Let's say I go into some guy's office. Let's say he's even remotely interested in buying something. Well, then I get all excited. I'm like, Jojo, the idiot circus boy with a pretty new pet. The pet is my possible sale. Oh, my pretty little pet. I love you. So I stroke it, and I pet it, and I massage it. Yeah, I love it. I love my little naughty pet. You're naughty. And then I take my naughty pet, and I go... Oh! I killed it! I killed my sale! That's when I blow it. That's when people like us have got to forge ahead, Helen. Am I right?
God, you're sick.
What I was trying to say is that our new brake pads are really cool. You're not even going to believe it. Like, let's say you're driving along the road with your family, and you're driving along, la-li-la, woo, and then all of a sudden there's a truck tire in the middle of the road, and you hit the brakes. Whoa, that was close. Now let's see what happens when you're driving with the other guy's brake pads. You're driving along, and all of a sudden the kids are yelling from the back seat, I gotta go to the bathroom, Daddy. Not now, damn it. Truck tire. I can't stop. Help! There's a cliff. And your family's screaming, oh my God, we're burning alive! No, I can't feel my legs! In comes a meat wagon! Wee, wee, wee. And the medic gets out and says, oh my God. New guy's in the corner puking his guts out. All because you want to save a couple extra pennies. And to me, it doesn't...
Get out. Now.
Do you validate?
Now.
We're
Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Just a little bit of...
You're listening to the Pauly Price Podcast. Nonstop. Here's your host, the jack of all trades, Pauly Price.
All right, and we're back. I hope you enjoyed that clip from Tommy Boy. I know I enjoy that movie every time I watch it. It's really not a long movie. It's about 97 minutes. If you haven't seen it already, go back and watch it. Chris Farley at his best. I mean, the duo between Chris Farley and David Spade is phenomenal. In any movie they do, even in Black Sheep, that's another great movie that they did. Kind of like a sequel to this, but with different characters. I mean, for them to be able to do that and still have that chemistry and be able to have a whole different script and new characters and to pull off that chemistry again is phenomenal. So again, if you haven't seen Tommy Boy, go check it out. Over the next few weeks, I'm going to start doing a couple of podcasts where I'm going to be putting out different types of genres of movies and music, where I'm also going to be calling some of my friends and shooting the shit, basically. We're going to talk about the film, talk about things that we liked, what we didn't like, some fun facts that we didn't know, some little Easter eggs that hopefully listeners can be like, oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Wait, what?
All right, so we heard a little bit about the news, everything that's going on with the COVID-19. It's pretty much the same as far as lockdown, but we are seeing a change in the increase of cases in the United States, at least. So that's a good thing. We're seeing a flattening that curve. I mean, listen, it's going to go up in ways, but at least we're not seeing this high rise anymore. I think we finally peaked when it comes to the U.S. But how long this will last, I have no clue. I don't think anybody has a clue. We're just going based on the information and data that we're getting as we go with this. So it's pretty crazy going through this stuff. But again, I hope everybody's staying home, staying safe, doing the right thing. I know a lot of people that are working who have to go to work and putting themselves on the front line, whether in the hospital, whether the groceries, whether doing essential work that's needed for the city. Yeah, it's tough. And then there's people that are home collecting money that don't have to do anything, and that's tough to deal with. I know that if I was an essential worker, it would definitely piss me off. But from the same point of view that I'm not an essential worker and that I have a family and I have kids and I still haven't gotten any response from the unemployment, it kind of like pisses me off because it's like, hey, you know, like I do my part and now the time that I need this government to work, it's not working. And, you know, it's frustrating, but I try to stay positive. Come up with your own podcasting. Come up with your own ideas and how you would like to change the way things are. You might get through. I'm hoping this would work for people that are going through things like me or who are going through things differently or maybe even worse. So I'm just trying to do this to kind of like soothe myself in a way. You know, in a way it's kind of weird I'm talking to myself, but I really don't care because at the end of the day, things like this are important. Our sanity is extremely important. And I have to say, I've been locked down right now for over a month with my family and my wife. And I actually thought I was going to be at it with my wife, you know, because we're on top of each other. We haven't fought whatsoever or argued really about those stressful things that we deal with in our everyday lives.
Whatever, motherfucker!
Other than financial worries that you have, we're actually getting along pretty well. More than I thought. And, you know, that says a lot in a marriage that you can get along with someone in these times because you're stuck with them. You really can't go outside as much as you want to. And our bodies are used to going outside and being in the sun and being exposed to that. I'll tell you, from not experiencing the sun and going out every day, I'm kind of feeling the effects that how it changes the mind on how we think, on how we live. So it's important to find a hobby. I am the jack of all trades, master of none. But listen, I digress. I can do a lot of stuff. I have a lot of hobbies. I can find so many things to do to keep myself occupied. Some people out there don't have that luxury. They really are boring people, and they have no clue what to do. So maybe this is the time to do it. Every day we pick a game and we play with my family, and we choose what game we're going to do, what night, what movie we're going to watch. We make a list, you know, do these things because it actually helps families get through this. Communication is key. Speaking to each other, helping each other out. Like, my wife is a teacher, so she does her stuff in the daytime, and, you know, I'm cooking and cleaning and you know, taking care of the kids, making sure that she can do her job and help those kids that need that education. So in a way, me staying home and doing that, yeah, I'm not making money, but in a way, it kind of makes me feel important still, because I'm helping my wife. And you know what? She's appreciating this even more because she's doing less of those things now that she was doing plus her job. So I guess that's why we're getting along, because I'm taking that slack off because I'm not going to work. I'm making myself useful. You know, do I play video games? Yeah, but I pick a certain time slot that I do that. And that's when I put my kid down to a nap. I got my game time. Other than that, I'm usually doing stuff around the house. I usually prepare the lunch and breakfast, whatever we're going to eat. We're all stuck in the house together. We're all in this together. Let's get together and get through this and figure out your own ways, whatever that may be. We're coming at the end of my show, so like I always do, I'm going to end this baby with a song of the day. One of my favorite songs, definitely on the charts. It's a long chart, to be honest with you, but this song came out in October 1981, and it was on the album Escape from the band Journey, and it is Don't Stop Believin'. So this is Paulie Price signing off saying, stay safe, not stupid.
Just a small town girl living in a lonely world. She took the midnight train going anywhere. Just a city boy, born and raised in South Detroit. He took the midnight train going anywhere. A singer in a smoky